I think it's so important that we don't live through other people. And I don't mean that in the sense that we shouldn't rely on other people. We shouldn't help other people and that we shouldn't experience life with other people. But when I say live through others, I mean almost trying to gain an experience through watching other people experience it. And I think that could be such a difficult thing to, wrap your head around, especially because in today's day and age, it's just so much social media. That's basically what social media is. Watching all these celebrities live their lives, these day in the life videos, all these different kinds of content. They could be enjoyable on one hand, but I think part of the reason why they are enjoyable is because we're trying to live our lives through other people. Almost through watching other people, we almost gain the feeling of living that life. So it's so important to understand that we have the ability to create that life for ourselves. It's not just watching someone else with $1 million car and then gaining that feeling, but rather it's going out into the world and getting that $1 million car for yourself. And I think we may almost try to justify it by saying, oh, it's not possible for me, or oh, this is such a difficult thing to do, so I'd rather just see someone else have it. But if they can have it, why can't you? Yes, we're all born under different circumstances. Other people may have had it, easier in terms of achieving what they wanted to achieve. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are now incapable of achieving said thing. I think everything is possible to an extent. Everything is as possible to the extent that you believe that it is. If you think that you could win the lottery, then your chances of winning the lottery go way up, because then you'll actually buy a ticket. And that's not financial advice. That's not to say you should go, out and just buy lottery tickets. But in the sense that if you don't believe that you can, then you're never going to give yourself the opportunity to prove that you can. So it's about recognizing that we shouldn't live through other people. Because almost when we allow ourselves to experience the feeling, experience the emotions of having something, but through other people, then we don't almost allow ourselves to gain it for ourselves. In the sense that if we constantly watch other people have the things that we want and we almost gain that feeling, we feel like we're experiencing it, then there's never going to be any reason for you to go out and get it for yourself. And at the end of the day, what we really want as people is not necessarily the physical object. Because the house is just brick or wood, the car is just metal. What we really want is the feeling. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that you want the feeling or that you're substantiating the feeling in the present moment. I think that's a very good thing, and that's what we should do for everything that we want. But it's about recognizing that in doing so, but through the perspective of other people, through living through other people, then we almost limit the ability to substantiate it physically for ourselves. Almost in the sense that if you're able to feel abundance now, then you'll have abundance physically eventually. But then if you only feel abundance through watching other people have, then there's never going to be any incentive for it to appear and manifest for yourself physically. So it's almost about recognizing that we should never try to live through other people. And yes, it's good to get inspiration from time to time. But when we're constantly watching these day in the life videos, these, oh, look at what I do with my lifestyle, not only does it make us or compare that lifestyle to our own and think that we're inadequate, but also it literally prevents us from gaining that lifestyle for ourselves. Because if you're constantly watching other people have something and then you're substantiating that feeling, then there's never going to be any incentive for you to get it for yourself. There'll never be any incentive for you to obtain it physically, even if you have it emotionally and mentally and spiritually. So it's just so important that we don't try to live through other people. And instead, we look at what someone else has, not from a place of jealousy, but from a place of abundance. The example that I saw once was that if, let's say that you lived in a world where anything that you ever wanted If you just snapped your fingers, you could have it right now. Immediately. No delay, nothing. Literally anything that you wanted. Then if you saw someone walking down the street with, I don't know, like a $3 million jacket, you're never going to look at that person and look from a place of jealousy because you know it's something that you could substantiate for yourself. So I think that jealousy ultimately comes from a place of lacking rather than a place of abundance. And it's about recognizing that in order to be abundant, you must exist in a place of abundance. You almost must exist there spiritually first, and then physically it will appear to you if it complies with God's will for your life. So it's just so important that we don't try to live through other people. Like I said, it's good to get inspiration, but then taking that inspiration and then substantiating that feeling in your day-to-day life, rather than trying to constantly look for that inspiration again and again and again. It's almost like the self-improvement trap, in that you watch so many self-improvement videos thinking that you're actually making a positive change in your life, but the whole time you're actually not changing anything. But because you gave yourself the feeling, the false sense of security that you are making a change, then you'll never actually going to substantiate any change. It's only when you almost quit the analysis paralysis and you watch maybe a few videos on the topic until you have a good understanding of what to do, and then you just allow yourself to experience that. The joy of already being at your goal, rather than the joy of watching other people be at the goal that you want to be at. So I just think it's important that we stop trying to live through other people and we experience life for ourselves. The Bible verse I have for this video is taken from John 10:10, and it says, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. So, I think this verse is literally just saying, look, Jesus and God literally came so that we may have life and we may have it to the fullest extent. So it's about living your life to the fullest extent, not necessarily just watching other people have what you want, but going out and obtaining that for yourself and substantiating that for yourself. So, I hope you took something from this video. Yeah. Thank you for watching.